This is Antonio Lovato, host of We Tell You TV. I am here with Bruce Mears,
Yes.
a longtime friend and I'd say mentor. He was a community member at the local church, which I grew up going to for youth groups, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to allow him to introduce himself for you guys.
My name's John Bruce Mears, but I go by my middle name, Bruce. I am a Delmarva resident. I was born in Salisbury, Maryland, and raised in Sussex County. A little local heritage. My grandfather was John B. Greenberger, WBOC's first announcer, known as the Walter Cronkite of Delmarva. He logged AM on the air, FM on the air, and TV. First broadcaster on Delmarva. Local heritage.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I'm really proud of that. So there's a really good video about him on YouTube.
Okay.
When WBOC did their 50th anniversary,
Okay.
they always talk about him, and I was on the show and my mother was on the show.
Yeah.
It's a good watch. It's only 3 minutes long, but it talks about my relationship with him, so it's really special to me.
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is we'll get the link and I'll put it at the bottom of the video also.
Perfect.
So you guys can enjoy that. And it's pretty interesting. So he was the first, you said, or the original?
He was the first man to go on radio on Delmarva.
Yeah.
He logged AM on in the late 40s and then logged FM on in the 50s and logged black and white TV on in, I think it was 59.
Okay.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah. Do you know much about how he kind of got into that?
Yeah. This is all on the video. So
Okay.
he didn't marry my grandmother until he was 35.
Mm-hmm.
He was serving in the armed forces as a journalist during World War II. And 12 Japanese fighters flew from Russia to attack Anchorage because Russia's only like 20 miles from Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
And these Japanese fighters were shot down, and my grandfather went out to do a report on it. And when he was there, they got news that the Japanese had surrendered. And when he got back to town, he bought this diamond ring to celebrate the end of the war.
Yeah.
So after that, he moved to Salisbury and became WBOC's announcer.
Okay.
They recruited him.
Yeah.
And when he was in WBOC, he had offers to go with CBS in New York, the big broadcasting thing, but he had traveled so much doing journalism. He was happy in Salisbury and just stayed there.
Okay. So kind of just take that and kind of get a little nugget out of it. It's like mastery. He was sought after. He was so good at this thing that people wanted him from other different places. And
right.
It just shows that if you work hard and you do good at something, that people are going to want to,
exactly
take care of you in that field.
Exactly. And back then, Walter Cronkite was the nationwide journalist on CBS. And my grandfather's report came on right before Walter Cronkite. And they both had the same hairstyle and the same hair color.
Yeah.
And it was so cool. He'd like come, you know how parents will visit you at school?
Mm-hmm.
He'd come to school and all the kids would think he was some movie star because the way you saw him and then Walter Cronkite, a lot of people didn't separate local from national.
Yeah.
And everywhere he went, people asking for his autograph. And
awesome.
He used to take me to the Oriole games and they'd announce that he was at the game and have him stand up. We'd go sit in with Chuck Thompson while he was broadcasting the Oriole game. A lot of cool stuff.
Okay.
We even took a ride on the Goodyear blimp one time in Miami.
There we go.
He contacted CBS and said we were going down, and just myself, my grandmother, and my grandfather got an hour tour of Miami in the Goodyear blimp.
That's pretty sweet.
That was really cool.
Yeah. So he and you clearly had a close relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of segueing, when you look at your relationship with him and your experiences, whether it's by things he's told you or things you've watched him do, what sort of things stood out to you that made you think these are what I need to follow to now repeat the same sort of
I
success?
got one that's just amazing. Um, being a youth leader, I'd see kids come to Jesus, and I'd be a little bit jealous of that because it happened in a time of their life where they'd remember it. I guess I do remember this. I was with my grandparents all the time, and they used to take me to their church, Bethesda in Salisbury. And there's this huge picture of Jesus on a mountain holding a sheep. And this light just illuminated him like he was glowing with a crown of light. I loved Jesus before I could talk. When they'd take me to church, I could hardly wait to go see that picture.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I'd love to be able to remember my baptism. Of course, I was baptized as a baby.
Yeah.
I'd love to remember coming to Jesus, but that's pretty special too, right?
Mm-hmm. Of
Yeah, so he was
course.
just a good role model. And when I was in my teens and early 20s and feeling my oats, he's like kindly telling me, how about you try a little something different? How about if you slow it down and get more involved in the church? So other than being an announcer and being really proud of what he did and watching what he did and learning what he did, he was a spiritual leader, and so was my grandmother.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I always tell people like one of the most important things, if not, it's not one of, it's the most important thing is having faith in Jesus Christ, because without it, your life's a mess. You don't have a filter in which you should think about, which goes into like the book of Proverbs is just so good on like basic wisdom and
no
what we
doubt.
should consume to sort of mold our lives after. So having that influence from them in the regards to the church is really awesome. And then also the fact of like doing the community work, which is kind of how I ended up learning of you and engaging with you as a young man. And what you're known for is being a community member. I think you're also known for being a great builder, which we'll get into.
Thank you.
But really, I don't think of Bruce Mears the genius designer, which you're amazing from what I can see. I think of Bruce Mears the guy who's always at church, like literally the guy who's always at church. What do you think it is about community engagement that really actually increases quality of life and you know all things?
Well, I'm going to tell you why I became a youth leader. um, my mother remarried when we moved over here, and I'm not crying poor mouth. It just wasn't a good thing. um, I became a chicken farm, like an unpaid employee, and all I did was work at the chicken farm and go to school. But I was allowed to walk to church on Sunday. So once again, that built that foundation in me. Was I going to worship God? Not quite as much as I was just trying to escape work, farm, and be with young kids and have a good time. And my mentor was my youth leader, Charlie Hudson,
Okay.
who still goes to Mariners. So
Okay.
that's where I got my foundation. And that's why I became a youth leader, Tony, because I was going to Mariners and watching the Crash Youth Group. And I call it a God moment. I was going through a time where I had just gotten divorced. I lived in Lewis and I moved back. And I was sort of ashamed to be uh, divorced with young
Mm-hmm.
kids. And I was sneaking into church, basically, getting there right when it started, sitting in the back row. And as soon as it ended, darting out, so I didn't have to answer any questions about my personal life. And I'm sitting there one day, and Christina and Woody are talking about it was the start of the crash year, which
Mm-hmm.
is right after Labor Day. And it's almost like I felt a tap on my shoulder. God spoke to me and said, "You love kids, and they love you. And some of them need your help. You need to get involved with this." So that's what I did. And it just
Yeah.
felt so natural. I mean, that's we all think we have God moments. I've had a few, but that's my number one. I clearly felt that I was told to join the youth group as a youth leader.
Yeah.
So, um, my faith, even though I said I was going to church, more for companionship and to get away from the work of being on the the chicken farm. The faith was there, and without it, I wouldn't have made it through my childhood.
Yeah.
My stepfather killed himself when I was 17 years old, and 3 months later, his father, my step grandfather, that I just idolized, killed himself too. And without faith, I don't know what I would have done, Tony.
Yeah.
You know, I had to rise up,
Hmm.
and my mother was devastated. So without faith, who knows what I would have done? You
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
I could have run off in the wrong direction,
Hmm.
but you know, God steered the boat when I was unable to
Yeah.
or not qualified to. How's that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
when He saw
right.
us all through it, so
Yeah. So in your engaging of like the community, the youth group, what things did you find came out of it personally, um, that really increased your like quality of life?
the joy I saw on the kids' face doing everything we did, and then watching them grow into adults like yourself
Hmm.
and watching their progress, but most of all, watching them grow their faith.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
You know, when I sort of got away from the Lord, I guess around, well, shortly after the suicide,
Yeah.
and I went to a church service, or excuse me, a funeral service where Alex Sloanen, a former um, pastor at Mariners, came up and talked to me and invited me back to church.
Hmm.
And I went, and from that moment on, I've been all in. So,
Okay.
but I
Okay.
didn't give up on the Lord. I just wasn't worshiping in a way pleasing to the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's normal for young people, whether you have sort of catastrophic events or not, to sort of stray away a bit and experience a array of things that maybe they that are untasteful or untastely to what they perceive a good Christian should be. But
Right.
once more, that's why we need grace to begin with.
Exactly. You're right. As a young person, you don't know, you're not, maybe some people are. I wasn't compelled to lean into my faith as hard as I could. I sort of leaned away from it.
Okay.
And, thanks to Alex Sloan, and he reeled me back in with just a basic conversation, and it's been all in from there.
Yeah. Now, you grew up working on a chicken farm for many years of your life, and that was sort of the catalyst for you to like kind of figure out what you wanted to do because you knew exactly what you didn't want to do.
You
Can you tell
nailed
us a
it.
bit about that?
You nailed it. When I graduated, I loved to surf.
Okay.
So I was back then when you put the TV on, we used to get a channel out of Washington, D.C., Channel 5, and they ran these ads on there for a technical school called Control Data Institute. We're talking 20 years before we had home computers.
Okay.
And that interested me. And I was going to go, and midsummer, right about when it was time to, you either got to enroll or it's too late, I decided not to go because I didn't want to leave the ocean.
Okay.
So,
Good
because I
place for
love
that.
to surf.
Yeah.
And you're right, the chicken thing, no way. I had had enough. And it wasn't like it is now. Nothing was automated.
Okay.
I mean, you fed them by hand, you watered them by hand, you picked up the dead chickens every day and buried them. You shoveled the chicken manure out when the chickens left. You shoveled the sawdust. It was nonstop. So I knew I wanted nothing to do with that. And around here in the late 70s, the only jobs were poultry,
Hmm.
real estate, or construction.
Okay.
So I go to work for a builder framing, and I didn't go to work looking for a career in building. I needed a job,
Yeah.
and I loved learning about it. But the guy I worked for used to ride me for taking extra time to do what he asked me to do as well as I could. And he
Yeah.
used to yell, this sticks in my head and it will forever. He used to yell at me, I can't see it from my house. Move on, get it done. And that
Uh,
lit a fire in me. I knew that people wanted, somebody somewhere wanted it done as well as I knew how to do it.
mhm.
And that started a progression that led to my self-employment.
Yeah.
You know, I not only worked in framing, I worked with a mason, I worked with a plumber, I worked with an electrician, I worked with an HVAC guy. I did my own apprenticeship in all these trades
Yeah.
without even knowing I was doing it.
Yeah.
So in 1985, I founded my company,
Okay.
and I was 25. And by 30 years old, I was done with doing the labor on the jobs and working in the office and supervision.
Okay. So a big thing that kind of popped out to me is you were always upskilling, and like with AI and how it's changing the white collar world, a lot of people need to really think about how are they going to upskill? How are they going to become more valuable in a commercial sense? Not that our value is, of course, based on what we produce, but it's a necessary thing to be able to make a living and,
Right.
feel good about what you do in your day to day. My next thought was is that you noticed that people were cutting corners lately, and that there was a market that was there for you to do better and to perform higher. And when you think about that realization that, oh, I can do this better, and I can and that someone's going to want this, how has this thought kind of been in your life in other ways in other areas, outside of the starting of your construction company?
Well, I've just always had the nature that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it as well as I can. Um, I beat that into my own head.
Hmm.
Um, I think, just the pursuit of, like, before I came here, I was ordering company T-shirts, and I was so particular about the writing being bold, and I just like to do things as well as I could, and I think I was born that way.
Okay.
I had a cousin pass away about 3 months ago, and um, afterwards, my uncle Bill told me that I got my perfection, my drive for perfection from my father,
Okay.
who was an artist.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah, that
yeah,
would definitely
yeah.
require a drive of that.
So as I design most of the houses I build, and I consider myself an artist too because it's creative.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
the house in Bethany out to the right,
the
it's
modern
amazing.
house, I can't take credit for that design. That's my friend Scott Edmonston of C Studio.
Okay.
And like I said, I very rarely build from someone else's plans.
Mm-hmm.
The homeowner called me up and said, everybody says you're the man to build this house. I'm like, but that's not what I do. And they're like, but everybody says you're the one to do it. And I
Yeah.
said, well, just send me the plan. I saw the plan and I'm like, oh, I got to do that.
Okay.
And then one of the local magazines did an article about me building that house. The article's called Second to None in Coastal Style magazine.
Yeah.
And it's a great story about how Scott and I, created that modern, magnificent house that people to this day, they're walking by and they just stop
Mm-hmm.
like they see the Mona Lisa or something because it's so unique, and they take pictures. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Atlantic Millwork has a picture of that house on their trucks.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I saw something that wasn't a Bruce Mears something, and it had that house. I'm like, oh, sweet.
Yeah.
And it just triggered that thought.
Yep.
So I'm sure it's happening all around.
It's very cool.
So when it comes to designing houses, right now, are there any houses that are super exciting that you're sort of drawing
Every
out and
house I
building out?
do, Tony, if the homeowner doesn't handcuff me in the design process by like giving me a sketch, or, we want, if they give me artistic freedom, my favorite house is the house I'm working on now. I
Okay.
truly feel like I get better every house,
Yeah.
you know, and
Okay.
I just love it, you know. When people retain me, I just love to sit behind that computer and create something that's never been done before. Even though
Hmm.
it's similar to something that's been done before, it's unique in its own respect.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not just creating a floor plan and elevations the customers like. It has to meet the flood codes, the building
Yeah.
codes, the community codes, the height codes. So it's really a test of your skills, and I like that.
Okay.
I'll be 65 um, the 16th of next month.
Hmm.
And people say, when are you retiring? I'm like, why would I retire? I love what I do.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah.
You always hear that old phrase, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Hmm.
Well, I work days in my life, but I love what I do. And I'm not ready to throw in the towel.
Okay.
As long as people want me, I want to build for them.
Yeah. Have you
So,
always been like super studious? Because it
yeah,
takes like this nature to look into all the codes and all of that.
yeah.
Was this like
Well,
one of those natural things once more, just pursuing of the
I can lead
excellence?
into another dimension with that comment, all the codes. So when I started in 85, 1995, we still didn't have a building code. So here's the guy that in his mind is doing it right. And when I mentioned that the builder made me rush back, it was a production market.
Hmm.
It wasn't these high-end houses we build now. So what
Yeah.
he was saying had substance to
Oh,
it.
of course. Yeah.
So I pestered Sussex County Council to death that we need a building code because people weren't framing, as the code would say. I saw what was going on in other jobs and I wanted everybody to be on the same page.
Hmm.
And that helps business too.
Yeah.
If I say it's $10 and someone says it's $8, well, if I'm building by code or better than code, and the $8 guy isn't, where's the value?
Yeah.
So I pestered them to death. And in 1995, they instituted the building code.
Okay.
Well, within the next year, I told them they were doing it wrong so much that they put me on the Sussex County Building Code Board of Adjustments and Appeals. And within 2 years, I became chairman of that board, and I served on the building code for 23 years. So what was great about that is I got to be part of driving the change.
Yeah.
Every time we modify the code, adopt a new code, we started with the CABO code, then we went to the International Building Code. The building code director and myself would have meetings and we'd bring in everybody for their feedback of what to take out of the code. And one thing we successfully took out, which is very important to Sussex County residents, is the International Building Code specifies fire suppression in all residential construction.
Hmm.
So, we took that out of the code, and that helps keep houses more affordable.
Okay.
So then the building code led up to my buddy, County Councilman George Cole, my political mentor, appointing me to the Board of Adjustment. And I served 4 years simultaneously on the Building Code Board and the Board of Adjustment.
Okay.
And then when my good friend and classmate Doug Hudson became county councilman,
Hmm.
he asked me to move on to Planning and Zoning Commission, which is really intense.
And that's
It's
what you do currently.
Yeah, I'm in my ninth year.
Okay.
They told me it was just a couple hours every 2 weeks. It's a
It's
full
not.
time job.
Okay.
So
No.
I wrap that up this June. My appointment is up, and I do not want to be reappointed. I
Okay.
think 30 years of service to the county
Hmm.
for basically zero pay. I think that's enough.
Yeah.
So, but I love to serve.
Yeah. And I'm sure you can agree, but in my experience in serving and doing things for no pay, or low pay, that there's these benefits that come out of it that just aren't maybe directly linked. Do you find that experience in life that the more you serve and the more you give, the more things come around?
My favorite thing from county service is I get to help people. People know I'm in this position. They call me with a problem. And if
Hmm.
I can't knock it down or help them at the county level, and that doesn't mean do them favors, that means get them on the right path
Yeah.
or get them with the right person. I can lean on my allies in the state legislature to help them. So it's just an honor that when people have issues and they feel like they can't overcome them, they lean on me and I'm able to help them.
Okay.
And that's worth a lot of pay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
First and foremost, that people look to me for that, but then
Hmm.
to actually be able to help them,
Yeah.
it's a blessing. It's a great feeling. That's why I
Hmm.
serve.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like with what you said with the kids is, like you did say joy, but mostly what I kind of picked up is you get fulfillment out of the experience of helping, which is kind of a bit rare because like likewise, but at the same time I do, think about like, oh yeah, like I get joy out of this, or this is fulfilling in like some way that is happening internally, and then in turn it makes me want to keep doing it. But sometimes, you know my flesh will, ask myself, well, what am I getting out of this, especially when perhaps it's just like, people are not showing the gratitude, that maybe I expect, but it's the sense of expectations that, I need to maybe work on, like letting go of a bit, and just getting more to the purity of the act of serving, which I'm sure takes time. One thing that I thought was interesting and made me think about how I need to fight a bit more is you said I pestered them about this thing, and for
I
me,
did.
I usually have the approach of making something known and then putting my hands up. And I'm like, well, if they thought it was valuable or if God was in it, then it would happen because I made clear what I thought and whatever. But perhaps because of my youth and just like when you're youthful, you're more energetic and there's this
Yeah.
association with being annoying. I was like, I don't want to be annoying, but I find that I am scared to pester and fight for things. Were you always good at sort of fighting to make things happen, or is this a muscle that's been
Yeah,
trained?
Tony, I've fought a lot of battles for things in the community all by myself.
Yeah.
Um, Lost a few, won a few,
Hmm.
but I'm passionate about whatever I believe in. And you're right, as a youth leader, there was a lot of fulfillment. Just everything we did and the things I got to do. Um, it was just a wonderful experience. And the only reason I could do that at that time in my life is because in 2008 and 9,
Hmm.
the bubble burst and the market slowed down. And I wasn't overwhelmed with work. So, with
Okay.
my free time, I was able to be a youth leader.
Yeah.
And then mid year, one year, when the market got strong, I just had too much on my plate and I had to stop.
Okay.
So, but I miss it.
Yeah. So
And
you're no longer, doing the youth, formally?
no,
Okay.
no, I'm
Okay.
not.
It's been a minute since I've
Yeah,
been in high school, so
yeah.
it's
Well,
I
I'm
was
with
wondering.
Pastor Woody. I followed Woody to Stevenson Church.
Yeah.
And so, Woody always puts my construction and design skills to work. We remodeled this little house the church owns and rents.
Okay.
I did the design to redo the front um, deck and porch, and thanks to my success, I got to donate the materials. And now he has me, it's one of the biggest challenges of my career. We're putting in a handicap access, and we
Hmm.
don't want to put it on the front of this beautiful church, this big ramp, and it would just ruin the curb appeal of the church. So there's a 4 foot pathway between two buildings that we're putting a walkway to a chairlift, up to a deck, up to an automatic door to get in the house. And the
Okay.
chairlift doesn't fit. I have to modify the building to squeeze it in. So
Yeah.
yeah, Woody's got me busy.
Okay.
And of course he's got me on board of trustees.
Yeah.
And of course I'm co-chairman. So the volunteer work at the church has just shifted gears
From
from
one
the
place to
youth
another.
to, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we were at Mariners, I was blessed to be a part of the new sanctuary.
Okay.
The old
I was
sanctuary,
wondering that while you were
yeah, the old
explaining.
sanctuary, we had 320 members when we decided we were growing and it wasn't big enough. And of those 320 members, at least 150 of them, they were either married there, their kids were married there, their kids were baptized there. We were landlocked. Nobody wanted us to tear down that sanctuary, but it was the only option.
Mm-hmm.
And my man, Charlie Hudson, I told you, who was my youth leader,
Yeah.
he was the head of the sanctuary, and I was the design committee. And he just had this idea where where it, about 40% don't support this project. How about if we do multiple designs and let them pick? So I did 4 designs, 2 brand new and 2 renovations that mimicked the look of the old church.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing in my heart I wouldn't do any of them because we had talked to this company in Pennsylvania that does octagon buildings.
Okay.
And I saw what they can do and how cost efficient it was. So Charlie put me up in front of church once a month. After church, you could come ask Mears questions about the new building.
Yeah.
Oh man, there was a handful of people that just drilled me.
Okay.
Of course,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, every group has those people, and of course, I had answers for them. So luckily, I produced 4 designs, and we got the design from Paul Lehman and Associates, and I was part of that design, marrying it to the existing building in the top floor.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, they picked that one,
Okay.
so
So it worked out.
it worked out.
There we go.
And then, you know, I designed and added the building behind the social hall that they called the storage building. And of course, I was on the committee to build the new youth building,
Yeah. The Hope
the
Center,
Hope
is it called?
Center. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Holly was the chairman. I was just a small contributor on that. There just wasn't a lot for me
Yeah.
to do on that, but I contributed where I could.
Mm-hmm.
So
So when you said that you've had a lot of moments where you had like wins in fights and then losses, when did you know that it was a loss and you just had to like stop? What were like indicating factors where you've realized in life um, that it's like, okay, I'm barking up a tree that isn't gonna fall?
I'll give you a good one. As a surfer, beach replenishment took away myself and a lot of local people's favorite thing to do.
Okay.
So I hated it. But then I started seeing these reports about injuries from shore break.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the news multiple times in the paper. For at least 20 years, I was a one-man band trying to draw attention to the dangers of shore break, not to necessarily get beach replenishment to stop, but to educate the public. BB from the awareness I raised, BB Hospital even did a study on injuries from shore break
Mm-hmm.
for like 3 years, and there was over 1,000 people each year injured by shore break.
Okay.
So, you know, when the wave breaks right on the beach, a 2-foot wave is bone breaking. There's been deaths,
Really?
broken necks,
Wow.
broken spines, and it really bothered me. And I fought and fought and fought, and I did achieve public awareness, but I didn't make a change
Okay.
because beach replenishment is happening other places without shore break.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so that's just an example. And I didn't come to a point where I just stopped.
Mm-hmm.
I came to a point where I still make commentary and put my nose where it belongs, not where it doesn't belong. But
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever given up on any battle. I
Okay.
just might have reeled myself in a little.
Okay. So just you, when you're coming against too much resistance, and it's probably getting to the point of less fulfillment, you just kind of taper back your activity
Yeah,
towards it.
yeah. I sort of put it in idle,
Yeah.
ready to put it back in first gear
Yeah.
if I see an
An
opening that makes
opening, an
it
opportunity.
necessary. So
I think I very much do the same thing. I have so many projects going on at one time, and the truth is sometimes you just don't have the dopamine to move towards one thing, or it's just the project's at a natural standstill, and I could like force myself to do something for the sake of doing it, or I could be like, okay, well, this is here, and I still believe in this thing, but maybe the timeline isn't what I want it to be, or it's going to take more time, or I don't know what the next steps are. So I'm going to let God handle it. And then from there, I just move on. I still keep busy. I still work. I just do other things. And then usually breakthrough will come. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I find the next chunk of work to do. When you say shore break, are you talking about how they pull the sand up?
they pull the sand up and they don't taper it, forcing it to break right on the shore.
Yeah.
The wave doesn't break off the shore in 2 feet, 3 feet of water, depowering it.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're when if you go to Ocean City from 45th Street south to the inlet, there's no shore break because they don't replenish. The
Okay.
waves break off of the beach
Onto the
in water.
water.
So if you
Yeah.
get hit by the wave, you land in water.
Mm-hmm.
What we have in Delaware is the waves break right on the
Right on the
beach.
beach. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
and
didn't even know it was another way. Sounds so silly.
every house I build, I educate my homeowners on shore break, and the whole message is do not turn your back. If it's 1 foot, don't turn your back. When you're getting out of the water, you can be back to, but be watching as you
Hmm.
could, because the injuries are just over the top.
Yeah, and you said only 2 feet is what's necessary to break a bone.
Um, 1 foot could, Tony.
Okay.
Hydro pressure is incredible.
Yeah.
All it takes is being it. The injury is caused by what you're hitting.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
wet
okay. Yeah.
sand is like concrete.
Hmm.
So, if a wave slams you down, you can. Well, my son Brandon, who I brought up surfing, broke his forearm at Rehoboth Beach in shore break, and he
Okay.
was educated about it.
Yeah.
He was educated about shore break and broke his arm.
Hmm.
So it's something that really bothered me, and I got after it as much as I could.
Okay. Okay. I see.
So
Well, I'll be frank, Mr. Mears. I think that is it for my questions. It's been a joy. Is there anything that you think would be good for the audience outside of what you've already shared,
I think,
in general?
yeah, I think so. We talked about how I grew up on a chicken farm and became a builder because of knowing I wanted to do it right, and somewhere people would want me to do that.
Yeah.
I want to encourage the youth that if you find something you really are interested in and go after it for a career, it's very rewarding. I didn't grow up thinking I want to be a builder. It just happened. It was an evolutionary process. I became a builder because, like, I wanted people not to be injured by shore break.
Yeah.
I wanted people to get what they were paying for in homes. Next thing you know, I'm a high-end designer builder.
Yeah.
That wasn't my plan. That's just the path the Lord put me on. And I just encourage everybody never to be defeated.
Hmm.
Don't be defeated. Go after your dreams and have God steer the boat, and you'll live a happy life.
Yeah. And I can agree with that. There's always a market for something. in like the
Yes.
most obscure niche too.
Yeah.
So I think that hope is something that is needed, and especially with the like Gen Z, my generation, there's a term called being a doomer, which is like, oh, there's no hope, and it's like, man, like as I mature a bit, I'm starting to realize it's like, oh, I need to get out of my own head, and like things are much better than they appear, and
Tony,
you
I
just got
think
to
it
be
is
patient.
tougher in today's world than it was for me when I started and through my progress.
Yeah.
You know, there's the rules and regulations and lawsuits and everything. It
Hmm.
is harder to start a business and make it successful.
Yeah.
So I was blessed. You know, I slipped right in right before this high end market started.
Okay.
And when it started, I was the guy with the design talent to fill it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Positioning.
yeah,
You know, you were positioned, and perhaps yours was more natural, but we can also always artificially, you know, inflate our position and make it better for us.
yeah.
Well, thank
I
you.
appreciate it. I'm honored you asked me to be a part of this.
Yeah. And
Thank
that's it
you.
for We Tell You TV. We Tell You TV Neanderthal Talks. Thank you very much for watching,
Thank you.
and thank you for chatting.